Guys, one last take.
Yeah, just like the other 3,000 last takes you just did.
No, it's gonna be the last one.
Yeah. So, today we will be discussing 5 tips for a happy recording session and not tips like mic placement or gear settings, these are too technical. Instead, our tips go like this.
1. Experimentation is the key. 2. Recording is all about capturing the musician's performance. 3. Know your space, know your gear. 4. Establish a good communication with your clients. And 5.
So, let us be somewhat more clear. You should always experiment. A new mic, a different technique, a weirdly tuned drum. This way you ensure your sound stays inspiring and the recording fuels your excitement. But such experimentations can get out of hand easily with you having to spend a day or two trying to find the best sound for your snare drum, while you don't even have a clear vision how it should sound like. Nowadays, possibilities are endless, and you should be disciplined to not let yourself fade into a chaotic session with too many variables to handle, and above all, to not let the excited musician fade into boredom. A good approach is to experiment with 1 or 2 variables in each session.
Follow your well-established techniques with your old trusty gear and experiment with one aspect of the whole setup. Say it be the amount of gain in a rock guitar amp or the effect of the pop screen positioning. It would be better to do such experimentations before the recording session. Otherwise, keep them brief and plan your moves ahead. Remember that musicians are not interested in such technicalities, and in a way you're wasting their time. So, do sit-outs to show them the improvements and be sure about your tweaks.
Shit. Filet! 2. Be there for the musician. Recording is as much about the engineer as it is about the musician. A great performance would go to waste with a crappy sound, and of course, a nicely engineered timbre would go to waste with a horrible performance.
You have an extended arsenal of tools to improve the technical aspect, but there are only a few things to affect the other half of the process, like keeping your musician excited and away from insecurities. Maybe next time you, but also them, should focus more on their performance rather than nitpicking about preamp selections and settings. That matters more to them and to the process as a whole. After all, you're making music, not sounds.
3. You must familiarize yourself with your space and gear. Whether in a studio or a live situation, knowing these 2 things can help you establish workflow, confidence, and give you time to spend on more demanding issues. On top of that, you can utilize your space and gear to their full potential, like, for example, place the drum kit close to a corner to amplify certain frequencies, or know what mic matches what kind of voices.
Listen to your space, adjust the acoustics, or use variable acoustic solutions to be ready to use your space to your advantage. The same goes with gear. Do shootouts, blind tests, and get to know the character of your precious mics, preamps, amps, and processors, and even the instruments you are going to use. Find the manuals and don't just use them to balance crooked tables. Read them.
Four. As previously mentioned, musicians are as central to the recording process as is the engineer.
About that, one last take.
Fuck! 4. As previously mentioned, musicians are as important for a recording process as is the engineer, and the good communication is a vital part for any recording. Besides paying attention to the musicians and their performance, the more practical aspects of a communication should not be overlooked. A welcoming attitude, along with a listen mic and talkback, are the bare minimum.
Visual contact and intimate blinks through a glass window are also important and can help make communications easier and faster. Attention should be given at the designing stage of a studio in order not to compromise the soundproofing or place a 32-inch monitor right in the middle. In general, lines of sight can go a long way to improve the overall feel of a session between musicians and producers, engineers and assistants. If communication through a window is not feasible, a dual-way camera monitor system can provide a viable alternative. Go ahead. It's cozy and it's just like chat roulette. You know what I'm talking about.
5. Plan ahead. Prepare your musicians and be patient. A more common problem is when confident performers that swear by their rehearsing are getting instantly anxious when the rec button is pressed, and all their unnoticed small errors begin to get to the surface under the magnifying glass of a recording studio. It is much more demanding to rehearse for a recording than for a live situation when the performance is one-off and many mistakes can be hidden.
Attitude,
Lights,
booze,
recreational drugs,
and many other factors can help cover a not-so-glorious performance, but it's a whole other deal under the clinical environment of a recording session. Allow plenty of time between pre-production and the recording, and urge musicians to work on their tuning, timing, and dynamics. It is a win-win situation for both. In the meantime, plan ahead on the setup and the gear that will be used to speed up the process and to save time for the musician to achieve their best performance through persistence, patience, and the comfort of your hags.
So, if my calculations are right, these are 5 basic but also fundamental rules to follow for a better recording. Stop sweating over minor details and focus on stuff that matters. I am Bill.
And I am George.
And don't drop the mic.
Instead, place it 2 centimeters from the speaker grill, tilted slightly off axis. And don't forget to subscribe. Do not.
So, today we will be discussing 5
Will be disgusting.
We will be discussing